Hello everyone, today is 5th of August, now it's 20 past 9 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I'll share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Second update will be during the live stream about 5 o'clock in the afternoon Moscow time, and of course I will inform our community about a live stream some 20-30 minutes earlier on community page and also on my Telegram page. If you are not subscribed, please consider. I'm trying to keep Telegram channel informative as I can right now. And also, dear friends, if you want to highlight certain topic during the live stream, or if you have a commentary or question, you can send it through PayPal, Boosty, or Patreon, and I will definitely pay attention to it during the stream. That being said, let's talk about news now. And first of all, I will share with you this information from RIA Novosti, which is based on Russian Defense Ministry, and it is a confirmation of Russian control over the settlement of Novoselovka Pervaya on Avdiivka direction. This is the settlement, relatively small settlement, like dozen of streets, few dozen of buildings, although of course our community well informed that this settlement is under Russian control for quite a while, at least 4 or 5 days now, and of course I reported about it during the previous updates. And at this point, if you can see on the screen these white dots, this is approximate line of contact, which is relatively away from Novoselovka Pervaya, but Russian Defense Ministry, being quite conservative institution, only now acknowledged Russian progress in this direction. It happens quite often. Sometimes it may take a week before Russian Defense Ministry will acknowledge a successful military operation of the Russian troops. And of course, initiative is in Russian hands all along the front line, from southern sectors up to northern ones. Also, we have a report from RT about strikes on Donbass cities, long-range strikes by Kiev regime. So Ukrainian forces, or Kiev regime forces, targeted several locations in Donbass with Western-supplied missiles on Sunday, including the city of Lugansk, according to local authorities. Lugansk, the capital of Russia's Lugansk People's Republic, was hit with at least 8 ATACMS and 4 Storm Shadow missiles. Regional head Leonid Pasechnik said in a Telegram post, adding that warehouses containing fuel tanks and residential areas were hit. He also said that Russian air defense systems partially repelled this attack and at least 4 missiles were shut down, intercepted. I shared on my Telegram yesterday video and photos of these strikes, aftermath of this strike, and the RT is also presenting here some photos. At this point, no precise information about casualties as a result of this strike, although of course emergency services were on the spot and dealing with these consequences. I'm quite sure, I don't know about you, but I'm quite sure these long-range strikes were organized and conducted basically by US military personnel and British military personnel, because ATACMS long-range missiles are US made, and their targeting data is definitely put in this missile by US military personnel, and the same can be said about British military personnel when it comes to Storm Shadow cruise missiles that formerly Kiev regime received from United Kingdom. I wonder how long patience of Russian leadership lasts, because at some point there have to be strong response on these long-range strikes deep inside the Russian territory, because force is the only language that Western ruling class understands. RT is also reporting about US-made F-16s over there, Ukraine. So US-made F-16 fighter jets have been spotted in Ukrainian airspace, according to videos shared online by local residents. They appear to show at least one plane conducting a surveillance flight over their city of Odessa. And yesterday I shared on my Telegram several videos and photos of F-16s that allegedly were spotted over there Odessa. And question is where those planes gonna be located. My personal understanding is that even though Kyiv regime still controls vast areas of former Soviet Socialist Republic and name of Ukraine, most likely F-16s that formally being delivered to Kyiv regime will be located in Romania, Poland, and maybe even in Moldova. And one may wonder what kind of action will be taken by Russian side to neutralize those very much capable air-to-air and air-to-ground attack planes. Let's see. We all remember statements of number of high-ranking Russian officials when they said that if those planes, F-16s, will operate from whatever airfields, those airfields will be seen by Moscow as a legit target, no matter they are in Kyiv controlled territory or not. So let's see now. Let's see how Moscow will react on it. We have additional information on F-16s. TASS news agency is reporting about article in their Economist, according to which formally Kyiv regime already received 10 F-16s, although in reality, of course, these planes are piloted by NATO pilots, and these planes will undergo service maintenance work also in hands of NATO engineers, NATO specialists. I have no doubts about it, not even for a second. This is NATO's direct involvement in this conflict, not the first instance, not the second instance, but clearly this is these deliveries of F-16s are, or deployment of F-16s to the battlefield also clearly are indicator of direct involvement of NATO in this proxy war against Russia. And I believe some strong actions need to be taken by Moscow, because once again, Western ruling class has no reverse gear, and the only language they understand is force. So Economist is sharing with public information that formally Kyiv regime already received 10 F-16s, and another 10 should be transferred to Ukraine before end of this year, and before end of 2025 overall Kyiv regime supposed to have about 79 F-16s that were promised. Let's see. TASS news agency is reporting that head of Chechen Autonomous Republic of the Russian Federation, Ramzan Kadyrov, during his commentary on situation on zone of special military operations, said that he is quite convinced that special military operation will end with a Russian victory in 2024. Recently, head of Akhmat Special Forces, Abtialo Dinov, Major General of Russian Armed Forces, made a similar statement. He said that he's convinced that before end of 2024 special military operation will end with Russian victory, and now Kadyrov is saying the same. And of course, they are much more informed than any of us, obviously. So let's see. Kadyrov highlighted that Kyiv regime basically has no ground forces, enough ground forces to maintain their defense lines, and Russian troops are advancing on daily basis, which is true, by the way. Of course, Kyiv regime is suffering lack of manpower, and Russian troops definitely advancing on daily basis, even though Russian army is deploying mobile defense strategy. But whenever there are areas where Kyiv regime's defense lines are collapsing, obviously Russian troops are moving forward in those areas, and on daily basis almost we are receiving news about liberation of this settlement and that settlement. So it is factual what Kadyrov is saying. When it comes to topic of ending of special military operation. I don't know. Will this conflict end in 2024 or 2025? But yet again, Abchi Alaudinov and Ramzan Kadyrov definitely have more detailed information about the situation on the ground than we will ever have. So they definitely have reasoning behind their such statements. Let's continue. Vzglyad newspaper is reporting that former aide of Ukraine's president, Leonid Kuchma, Oleg Soskin, made a statement about possible civil war in Ukraine. He said that Ukraine should be ready to conduct military operations on two fronts against Russia and also inside the Kiev-controlled territory, because according to this Oleg Soskin, once again aide of former Ukraine's president Leonid Kuchma, according to him, civil war is inevitable in Ukraine. Probably he knows better than what is the situation inside the Ukraine, what is the feeling of the public. But what I can say is that last month or two we are clearly seeing more and more instances when people in Kiev-controlled territory are managing to overcome fear, managing to conduct some protests, to do some to take some steps against the occupying regime of Zelensky, Western occupying regime. And for example, all around Ukraine, on daily basis, cars, military vehicles of these so-called recruitment offices have been burned down. Even in Western Ukraine, there are demonstrations now, and I reported about it yesterday or day before. Demonstrations against this forceful mobilization. So who knows? Maybe social fabric in Ukraine is stretched so much so that at any point it may just blast, and we may see some internal confrontation, not just between public and regime, but maybe even some military formations will take side of their fellow citizens. Anything is possible, but in any ways, that's the information that we have, that this former aide of Ukraine's president, Oleg Soskin, is predicting civil war in Ukraine. Vzglyad newspaper also reporting about statements of deputy of Russian Foreign Ministry, Sergei Rabkov, who stated during his interview with the Russia One TV channel that recent conversation between head of Russian Defense Ministry, Andrei Belosov, and head of Pentagon, Lloyd Austin, was, according to him, somewhat successful. Message was received by Washington from Moscow, and this helped to avoid the escalatory spiral between the sides. No details were provided what he exactly meant by this statement, what was avoided. But unfortunately, yesterday, for example, we see yet another long-range missile strikes on Russian territory that was conducted by US and British troops. So therefore, I am a little skeptical that Washington really received any message from Moscow at all. I don't know. In my personal opinion, Western ruling class only understands strong force, no statements. Only force can bring them to their senses. That's it. RIA Novosti is reporting that Mali is cutting diplomatic relationships with Ukraine due to Ukraine's involvement in terrorist activity on African continent, including in Mali itself. And also, by the way, yesterday Senegal it was Senegal, I believe. Senegali foreign ministry summoned the ambassador of Ukraine exactly for Ukraine's involvement into terrorist activity on African continent. So it seems like African nations are very much not happy that terrorists that are destabilizing not just the countries but entire regions on African continent are receiving now direct aid, intelligence in terms of weapons from Kiev regime. And when we say Kiev regime, by the way, we should of course highlight that this is a CIA. This is a CIA that is behind all this terrorist activity of Kiev regime. Everywhere on Russian soil, on territories of other countries, including Africa. And before I continue, let me notice, dear friends, that this small media project of mine with several channels on YouTube, Rumble, Telegram is completely subscriber funded, and I will be immensely grateful if you will also consider to support my work with donation through PayPal or Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page or Boosty page. On both platforms, by the way, I'm trying as much as I can to create interesting and informative content. This is my Patreon page here, and this is my Boosty page. That's how it looks. I don't know why Boosty is not really popular among our community. I only have 7 paid subscribers on Boosty, but things are a little better on Patreon, by the way, and I really hope before end of this summer to reach to at least get closer to 200. Our community right now on Patreon is 155, and if you can, please join. Monthly subscription starts from $5, and it may not be much, but as more and more people will subscribe, of course, eventually it will be significant support, and it will give me opportunity to not just continue on this project, but also to further develop, to come up with some additional programming. So all the links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. Let's continue now. And TASS news agency is reporting that according to Israeli media, the Times of Israel, Netanyahu's government is considering preventive strike on Iran if information about Iran's possible retaliatory strike will be confirmed, that is inevitable. I translated this news, by the way. Unfortunately, I translated it, but it's gone now from Google's translation. But anyways, the Times of Israel is reporting that yesterday Netanyahu had a meeting with the leaders of security forces of Israel, IDF, Mossad, some other agencies, and the topic of discussion was a preemptive strike on Iran, which is crazy, isn't it? Which is crazy. Netanyahu can say that strike from Iran, some large-scale strike or whatever, was absolutely inevitable, and therefore we decide to conduct this preemptive action. They are looking for escalation, by the way. Netanyahu's government is looking for a regional war, and I believe they are acting on behalf of Western ruling class, because it's a Western ruling class that wants regional war in the Middle East to cut China from Middle Eastern energy sources. How are they gonna do it? By provoking regional war in the Middle East, cutting navigation, creating circumstances in which navigation in the Persian Gulf and through Hormuz Strait will be absolutely impossible or almost impossible. in case of which, of course, China will lose its access to one of the major energy sources for Chinese economy, which is the Middle East. That's what is their main goal for Western ruling class, by the way, and that's why the US already sent its warships, airstrike, aircraft carrier strike groups. That's why we are seeing this constant escalation, and I think no matter what kind of response we will see from Iran in retaliation of recent assassination of Hamas political leader in Tehran, I think Israel will continue to escalate. Israel will continue to escalate until they will provoke regional war. Seems like they are determined, and the Western ruling class is determined to provoke regional war. And at this point, I think only way this can be stopped is if Moscow, China, or Russia, China, and India will send their fleets into Middle East, into Persian Gulf, around, into Mediterranean if necessary, and if strong message will be sent to Israel and everybody that if you attack Iran, you're gonna deal with us then. This is the only way this regional war can be stopped, at least theoretically. At least theoretically. Otherwise, at this point, me personally have no doubts that Netanyahu's government and the Western ruling class will continue escalation in the region until they will manage to provoke regional war. They want it. They want regional war. And they don't care about consequences for a region, for citizens of regional countries, or for the world or world economy. They just don't care. All Western ruling class wants is to dominate over this world, and to do so, they want to take out major competitors. Russia, China, India. And first of all, of course, they are aimed on China, because China is already, according to PPP index, #1 economy in this world. Anyways, let's continue. Interfax is reporting that, well, according to CBS News, by the way, Western propaganda outlet, and the sources of CBS News, Israel, there is the expectation in Israel, Israeli government or security forces, that Iran's possible retaliatory strike, Iran's and Hezbollah's possible retaliatory strike will be conducted for several days. So it would not be just a one-time strike, but it will take several days. Theoretically, it is possible, but yet again, can we trust CBS News, or can we trust any state institution in Israel? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I'm quite sure Russia, China, India, Turkey most likely, and every country that have a good or friendly relationship, or at least working relationship with Iran, all of them are trying now to somehow calm things down, and probably all of them are recommending Tehran retaliatory strike to be, not on the scale that will be used then by Western ruling class and the Israeli government as another reasoning for further escalation. Everybody probably is recommending Tehran to retaliate with restraint. Let's see what will happen eventually. If Tehran will decide that they are retaliating with a strong force, then I guess we might see a scenario in which first Hamas will launch, or both, by the way, Iran and Hezbollah, and also Hamas, they will start launching hundreds and maybe thousands of missiles and drones to overwhelm air defense systems of Israel, and also air defense capabilities of US in the region, UK, and some other NATO member states. And then on the second phase, probably Iran and Hezbollah will launch a long-range precise missiles to take out strategic facilities, military bases, maybe buildings of the state institutions in Israel. Technically speaking, according to reports that are available in open sources, Iran and Hezbollah have such capabilities to take very, to conduct devastating strike on Israel. But how Israel will respond on that? One should keep in mind that Israel is a nuclear power, according to some reports, and they may start using nuclear weapons. And things may escalate exponentially from there, isn't it? So, yet again, let's wait what will happen. But me personally, I hope Iran's retaliatory strike will be, restrained to make point, but not to give additional arguments to the Western ruling class or Israel to further escalate in the region and to provoke all-out regional war. TASS news agency is also reporting that Foreign Ministry of South Korea recommends its citizens to leave, to flee Israel and Lebanon immediately. Many other countries did the same, of course. No flights. Many avio companies canceled their flights to Israel, to Lebanon, even to Jordan. And latest information is that now about 150,000 Israeli citizens are stranded all around the world in airports, and they cannot go back to Israel due to these cancellations of the flights. Yesterday this number was 100,000. Today is 150,000. Who knows? Maybe in a couple of days' time, if this standoff continues, hundreds of thousands of Israeli citizens will be stranded worldwide without being able to go back to Israel. Sglad newspaper is reporting, and we are staying in the Middle East, by the way, bigger Middle East, let's say, because technically speaking, this is Africa. No, it's a Middle East, for God's sake. Sometimes I may make some stupid mistakes, man. Of course, Yemen is Arabian Peninsula. What am I talking about? So, but you may get confused, by the way. I mean, there is news from all around the world, and so yes, we are staying on the Middle East, and this time on Arabian Peninsula, where Houthi rebels or Ansar Allah movement shut down yet another US-made MQ-9 Reaper drone. I lost count of these Reapers that were destroyed by Yemeni Houthis. This is photos of fragments of this destroyed drone. And I wonder if who is helping Houthi rebels to be this effective when it comes to their air defense capabilities and also long-range precise strikes. Iran, yes, Iran obviously is in support of Houthi rebels for a very long time, but maybe some other countries also. I don't know. Anyways, let's continue. Glad newspaper also reporting about Elon Musk's statement that civil war is inevitable in United Kingdom. He commented on the current disturbances in the UK. And there are some videos, really disturbing videos, by the way, are circulating on internet when people are beating up each other without mercy. Some craziness is happening there, and Stammer's government definitely has an issue, and not just one, in its hands, isn't it? And they have to calm down situation in the country, and they have to resolve fundamental issues that fundamental reasons that cause these disturbances in the country. Although yesterday I saw a statement of Stammer, and it seems like he don't really understands much, Or maybe he just don't really cares. I don't know, man. But his statement was clearly inadequate. Clearly inadequate. He started threatening protesters instead of calming things down and saying that, you know what, yes, there are some issues and we are working on it and we will try what we can to resolve all the topics that are creating disturbances in the social fabric. But instead of this, Stammer start threatening people left and right, which is I don't think effective way to calm down society. But let's see what will happen. Still, by the way, in number of cities in UK, especially England, by the way, some clashes are taking place, not just between protesters and the police, but now different groups of citizens of UK are fighting each other, which is definitely not a good sign. But still, I would not go this far as Musk, and I would not say that UK is on the verge of civil war. Of course not. But United Kingdom definitely needs some proper leadership. This is just too obvious. RT is reporting that EU state makes new Russian gas promise. So Austria ruling coalition has reportedly agreed to completely eliminate their country's Russian gas supply by 2027. Media outlet Courier reported on Sunday, citing a draft document. And okay, Austria will no longer buy Russian gas. The decision has been taken in line with Brussels and is aimed to reducing dependence on Russian energy imports in order to protect their economy and their households from renewed price and supply risks. How crazy is that? This is quote, by the way. This is the explanation that the Austrian government is giving. While by cutting supplies from Russia, they are exactly doing the opposite. They are jeopardizing economy and social fabric in Austria. According to the text of their agreement, Courier also noted that Russian state energy giant Gazprom furnishes between 80 and 90% of Austria's gas. So 80 to 90% of Austria's gas comes from Russia, and they want to cut these supplies. Okay, okay. Russia will sell this gas to China or some other countries, but what Austria gonna do, man? They're gonna replace 80 to 90% of its gas supplies with LNG, which is like twice more expensive or something. And this way they are protecting economy of Austria and households. I mean, I don't know, man. How long this madness gonna continue in collective West? I don't know, but this craziness has to be stopped at some point, man. TASS news agency is also reporting that Japanese Nikkei index, by the way, failed about 9% at some point due to fears of recession in US economy. Then Nikkei regained a little bit, but well, 9% drop is quite significant. Billions and billions, I guess, were lost, maybe tens of billions. And Nikkei is also, of course, top 225 companies of Japan, their shares. Also, by the way, interesting news from RT that Warren Buffett, this multi-billionaire, unloads Apple shares. So Berkshire Hathaway has slashed its stake in the tech giant by nearly 50%, Flink's show. And this Berkshire Hathaway is connected with Buffett. So let's go through this news in detail. So billionaire investor Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway investment fund, I guess, has significantly cut its investment in Apple, offloading nearly half of its holdings since the start of the year, according to quarterly earnings reportedly released on Saturday. The value of holding company's stake in Apple dropping from 174.3 billion as of the end of last year to 84.2 billion on June 30. In the first quarter of last year, Berkshire also sold around 10 million Apple shares, or roughly 1% of its holdings. Despite the sell-off, Apple remains the largest investment in Berkshire's portfolio. Nevertheless, the persistent offloading of Apple shares is notable for Buffett, who is famous for being a long-term investor and vocal Apple fan. During the Berkshire annual meeting in May, Buffett said he believes the tech giant would remain one of the conglomerate's core holdings. Okay, if Buffett is offloading shares of Apple, then he knows something, isn't it? He just knows something, and of course, I'm not an expert in finances and stuff, but in my personal opinion, Apple and all these tech giants are overrated. It's a bubble that was created around these companies, because there is no way Apple, by the way, that basically almost creates nothing. Nothing of importance. This company worth trillions. Some accident may happen somewhere in a mine where rare earth materials are sourced, and Apple will lose its production. What they gonna sell, really? Software that no one really wants and everybody hates, or almost everybody. So of course these companies are overrated, by the way. It's a bubble, and one day this bubble will burst. And Buffett knows this, and he is decreasing little bit, but decreasing his investments in this fake multi-trillion-dollar company. While in reality, I don't know, man. Real price for Apple probably is just maybe a few dozen of billions, and even that is too much, because all they create is some software that can be used only on Apples, right? Mainly, and if anything happens with supply chain, that's it, man. Apple is finished. And how this vulnerable company, can worth trillions, man? This is nonsensical. It does not make sense, man. Anyways, let's continue. Interfax is reporting, and I will end this update now, that emergency was declared in Tuva region of the Russian Federation, where about 2,000 hectares of the forest is on fire, and 23 separate epicenters of this wildfire. And of course, emergency services are working on the spot to deal with this issue. But yet again, whenever you have a vast forestry, you have wildfires. It's just it is what it is, man. It's a year-on-year occurrence. Although this year, according to some reports that I see, this year there is a significantly less wildfires in Russia than in some previous years. So there is some decrease, but still, to totally avoid wildfires is just, I guess, impossible. And dear friends, I will end this update now. Well, I would like this update to be a little shorter, about 30-35 minutes, but still, hopefully, it's not too long, and hopefully you will find it informative, interesting, and useful. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary if you can. I know, by the way, YouTube's algorithm is deleting comments very often, but if you can, please share some comment on anything. Really, more likes and comments are only way we can try at least to deal with the algorithm to reach wider audience. And for very same reason, if you can, please share information about my channel with your friends in real life or on internet, on any of the platforms that you're actively using. And finally, if you like my work, if you like my channels, please consider to support with donation or subscribe to my Patreon. Maybe we can reach 200 on Patreon community before end of this summer. As I said, monthly subscription starts from $5. So, and you will have access to all the content, by the way. It's a difference in level of support is just for community. You know, some may be able to support for $5 a month, some may be able to support for $20 a month. It's individual, isn't it? But access, everybody has similar access to all the content on Patreon. Okay, enough talk about that. All the links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. Have a great day, successful new week, and take care. Bye for now.